Patrol, move out!
We decided in Season 5 that we were going to explore Origins a little bit more, and what better to start with Beast Boy and the team that he originally was a member of, that being the Doom Patrol.
This was our first big DC Comics superhero team crossover, and it was the Doom Patrol, which is one of the coolest and definitely the weirdest superhero team out there.
When we brought the Doom Patrol over from the comic books, it was really just as simple as looking at the characters, figuring out what their powers are, looking how they'll work together as a team, and then taking our own spin on them and giving personalities that work well within our show. So it was not necessarily an unfaithful adaptation, but we really just were cherry-picking the best characters for the situation.
The problem with the Doom Patrol is they're the Doom Patrol. I mean, they're sort of the downer version of the Teen Titans. We wanted to kind of play that. We just wanted to parallel the two. What was neat about the Doom Patrol is you can see what the Titans could potentially be like when they grew up, if they lose sight of what their goal is.
What about Robot Man? Aren't we gonna go back for him? We need him for the mission.
Robot Man already did his part for the mission. We move forward.
The Teen Titans and the Doom Patrol are both hero teams, but they're very different in the way they do things. The Doom Patrol is very regimented. They have a definite structure in terms of who's the leader. That's Mento. Everyone else follows orders from him.
I said no. Now hurry up. We have a lot of ground to cover.
He was a father figure, but he was also a very stern father, and he was also a very, you do what I say, don't veer from it. He was more missions first, nothing else matters.
No matter what it takes. That was the oath the Doom Patrol swore, Beast Boy.
With Mento, we wanted him to be a really classic professor kind of character. We give him a really retro kind of costume. We kept the flying saucer head with the antenna and the lightning bolt on his chest.
While Mento can get, very stubborn and single-minded and focused, Rita, Elastigirl, can really kind of find the human aspect of the team.
Put it out of your mind, Beast Boy. It helps.
Elastigirl's a very even-tempered, kind of settling influence on the team, and she is the kind of the glue that holds the team together.
Elastigirl had sort of a 50s go-go girl kind of costume with the mini skirt and the high boots and the bouffant kind of hairstyle with the headband.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Negative Man is great because he's got the name Negative Man, and it actually describes every aspect of his personality. He's totally doom and gloom.
Like, he's kind of dour. We're doomed. What are we gonna do next?
I really wouldn't go there. Trust me.
Negative Man is basically a mummy in a superhero outfit. How cool is that? It's just, you can't go wrong with that.
Out of my way! This one's mine!
Robot Man is the original cyborg. He is a human brain inside a robot body. Unlike Cyborg, who never really has come to terms with his cybernetic aspect, Robot Man is totally down with it.
He's definitely an older, clunkier robot, whereas Cyborg is much more streamlined and futuristic. He's definitely bulkier than the comic, too. We wanted him to look a little more aggressive, more like a bulldozer.
You can do a lot with him. You can beat him up, and he takes a lot of punishment, and he dishes out a lot of punishment.
In the Doom Patrol, everyone's put into a box. And Beast Boy is, the little kid shape changer who, isn't quite a hero yet, so needs to do what he's told, and if he doesn't, well, then he can just get lost. And ultimately, that's what Beast Boy decides to do.
It was cool, too, just to see that Beast Boy kind of came from, like, a military family. That's why he's so kind of goofy and laid back now.
Season 5 is about Beast Boy in many ways. It starts off with him and his family, and it ends with him and his family in a different way.
The Doom Patrol were just more of a team, more of a military family, a little bit more rigid by the book. And I guess what's good about that is it shows, well, maybe that's what worked in the old days, or that's maybe what your parents are like, but it's important to be an individual, it's important to be a kid.
The Teen Titans has a lot of admiration for the Doom Patrol. I mean, they're famous. And the realization that Beast Boy was once a member of them is actually a little bit kind of surprising to the Teen Titans. I mean, gosh, these guys were, to a lot of them, they're heroes.
I don't like the looks of this.
Welcome, Titans East! After much analysis, I have created a series of events redesigned to challenge your specific powers. If you succeed, you will have proven your worth as Titans.
Well, in Season 3, we used the Titans East as kind of the other heroes, and they didn't really get their fair share. They never were given the opportunity to prove themselves.
When they first appeared, they seemed like just kind of throwaway, not as popular as the original Titans were. But it was fun to direct this episode because then you can showcase, they're not just the secondary Titans.
Yeah. Never heard of you.
The Titans East, I think, could probably handle their own, and they certainly do on their side of the world, but I think they don't get any respect. And that was one of the things that we had a lot of fun playing with.
Even the citizens they were saving thought they were wannabes.
Thank you, Robin. I like your other costume better.
I'm not Robin. I'm Speedy.
And it was time to give the Titans East their moment in the sun. Let's let them prove themselves as heroes.
So it was a lot of fun to kind of explore these characters that we have seen before but really didn't know as a team.
No, I'm the leader of the team. And we're done talking. We're taking you back to jail.
Bumblebee was a lot of fun to work on because she started out kind of as a foil to Cyborg in an early episode. And as we worked on her, we expanded her character and she became someone really fun and really cool to write. It wasn't just a typical, streetwise, smart-talking girl. Like, she really had a deeper character to her.
She definitely functions in the leader role, but I think she can also be a little bit brusque. She can be a little bit demanding, and sometimes that, I think the problem with Bumblebee is often she tries too hard.
So, are you like the Robin of the group?
Speedy was fun to do. He's kind of the loner of the group, he's kind of like too cool for school. He's kind of like Robin, but he's not the team leader. He's more to himself. He's off in the distance. He likes to play it cool.
The way we kind of played him was as an opposite to Robin, whereas Robin was the much more serious, gadget-prone superhero. Speedy kind of was the lighthearted, gadget-prone superhero. He only took himself seriously in that he was full of himself.
So with Speedy, we wanted to keep him looking really classic, but kind of push it a little more modern too, so we kind of blended it together to get sort of a fusion of the classic and modern look. I think some of the costumes, like Speedy's, are so perfect the way they are that they don't need much updating. It's just, it looks so good to begin with that you just have to basically streamline a little, put it in our style, and then it's already done.
So what if the kid didn't know your name? Let it go, Robin.
Aqualad is great, because much like Speedy, he's one of the classic original Teen Titans. Our Aqualad is kind of a rock star. He's got that cool look. He's got the mullet and the sweet outfit. He definitely is sort of a loner in the group because as kind of the one that swims around in the ocean, he's used to kind of being by himself.
So originally Aqualad had this sort of red and blue costume with little shorts, and we changed it to look more like the ocean. We wanted it to be sort of blue and black and have wave patterns in it, but we kept the fish scales because that was cool.
Más y menos si podemos. ¿Cómo funciona? No tengo idea. Es más complicado que el Space Shuttle.
When we came up with our original Titans East lineup, we wanted to have a speedster, but at the time, we actually weren't able to use Kid Flash. So the decision was made to come up with our own version of the kid that goes fast. And then it was decided, well, gosh, wouldn't it be neat if we had twins that had opposite powers, plus and minus, más and menos, and they only go fast when they're touching. And what if they only speak Spanish?
Cuando nuestras manos se tocan, somos muy veloces.
So when we were designing Más y Menos, we were creating something new, but we also wanted to kind of keep it looking like a classic DC Comics speedster costume. So we made him real sleek and streamlined and gave him the goggles and the plus and minus signs.
Who are these guys? So, my chat room chums, tell me, what do you know about the Titans East?
Titans East are still trying to figure out how they fit together. They're like the Titans when the Titans first got together. They're figuring out what pieces they have and how they fit together and how they coordinate with each other. They're still kind of a young team.
We knew that we had to challenge them in individual ways and allow them to be able to learn to overcome the things that stand in their way. And when they found that they could do that, that's what pulled them together as a team and made them just as formidable as our regular Teen Titans.
Hey, don't be a Titans East hater.
Titans East are cool.
Bumblebee and Aqualad forever.
The face of our enemy has changed. No longer is the Doom Patrol our only threat. Now a new generation stands in our way.
We wanted season 5 to be bigger, better, more characters, more action, more adventures, and the best way to do that is to add more characters.
The story dictated where we were going. The Titans went to other countries or other places and met other kids like them.
Now the hero roster spans the globe. There's got to be a way to keep them together. So we came up with the Titans Communicator with that iconic T on the front of it as the...
Just know what's going on. But in doing so, they also formed one of the biggest fighting teams ever.
Communicator. The brain has been tracking our every move with the communicator I gave to Hotspot.
Before we started working on season 5, we sat down and you know, the directors and Glenn and the writers, we all sat down and kind of wrote down a wish list of all the characters that we wanted to see in the show.
You know, you get to play with all the old Titans, and it was all the, you know, Titans we wanted to, you know, get our hands on.
Who are you?
Kid Flash, fastest boy alive.
Are you supposed to be a good guy or something?
One of the best.
Kid Flash is a really great, iconic character, and I'm so excited that I got to do an episode with him. He's such a big character, in fact, in terms of just the DC universe, and in terms of the Teen Titans universe as well, that he really needed his own episode.
I wish I could take credit for totally coming up with the idea of who to cast as Kid Flash, but the truth is, Glenn Murakami said, can we get Michael Rosenbaum? Because he had played Flash for me on the Justice League. So they said, do you think we can get him to sound young enough to be Kid Flash?
I work alone these days. You get a nice place. Very secret lair.
And so we asked him to manually himself, in performance, raise the pitch of his voice, and then we would also technically just speed it up a little bit.
I am sorry to confuse. You are no prisoner here. My name is Red Star.
In the comic books, Red Star actually had a very different origin than the one we used in the series. In fact, his original name was Starfire. Our Red Star, we decided that we were going to take the look, the uniform, the super soldier aspect, and really kind of reinvent him into something that was wholly unique for the series.
So with Red Star, we wanted to make him look a little more like a military. We kept a lot of elements from his original costume, but we pushed it so it's more Russian, more cold, and a lot more utilitarian.
What was so fun about using this whole big list of characters is we got to introduce some that were a bit obscure.
Gnark and I go way back. I'm Cole.
Gnark, for some reason, everybody loved him. For seasons, they talked about bringing him in. So we got to bring in Cole and Gnark.
We were able to give Cole a power that she had never had in the comic books, which is, in the comics, she was like growing crystals and things like that. In this, she turned herself into crystal. And we thought that was a lot of fun to play with, especially since when she turns the crystal, she can't move. And that makes it perfect for Gnark, who is a caveman without a club. Now he has a club.
D. Bradley Baker is one of the unsung heroes of our industry. He played this character in this one episode called Gnark, and all he ever could utter was the word Gnark. And a tribute to his talent is how many different emotions and how he could carry through a scene by simply using the word Gnark.
Gnark! 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 Gnark!
Since season 5 in a lot of ways was about origins, it was really neat to be able to create some heroes, young heroes from whole cloth that we knew someday were going to grow up to be grown-up heroes.
Going along with our storyline, that if the brain was out to take out the teenage superheroes, he was going to take out the next generation too. And we wanted to put Raven into kind of the scariest situation for her, which would be babysitting a bunch of little kids. At the time, Michael Chang had a little child. So the teether is based a lot on his little girl and watching her and seeing the different things that she would do.
A lot of his actions were based on my young daughter, how she was acting at the time, where she'd put everything in her mouth. She was still learning how to walk, and so I'd try to copy, you know, what she'd do. She'd keep her hands up while she walked.
Much of season 5 was about breaking our characters apart. In the finale, finally we get them all back together again.
And I loved working on the finale where it was a knockdown, drag-out fight with every character that you either loved or you hated. It doesn't matter. They were in it.
43 characters on screen, I think, is what we ended up with. And we had cards with every character's name. And we spread them out, and I said, well, who would be good against who? And we did matchups, this one with this one, this one with this one, this one with this one.
There's a reason why you didn't see that big fight until season 5. I mean, it just takes that long to get there. It's not like we set out to do the biggest superhero fight, you know, super battle ever. It just made sense.
Everything that we've ever wanted to do for the show is encapsulated in that one big, awesome battle.
Well, it was great to finally see all the characters together, the good guys, the bad guys, and for us at the end of our run, to have everybody together at once was really kind of cool.
Titans, together!
Fighting against a single villain probably wouldn't have been as effective because we just had the single villain in the last season. So we definitely wanted a team. And of all the villain teams that are available to the Teen Titans universe, the Brotherhood of Evil definitely were the ones to watch.
We really wanted villains that were adults versus our teenage villains. And they were all about taking out the next generation. They wanted to take them down and any future generations so that they would be the ones in charge.
Our take on the Brotherhood of Evil was very much from the Silver Age of DC Comics. And back in those days, their motivations were very simple. Take over the world. We have a master plan and we will see it and wahahaha, we are evil.
What's cool about the older DC characters is they're iconic, but there's something about the goofiness about the characters that makes them creepier.
In the Brotherhood of Evil, the Brain is the boss, and everyone answers to him. So while we have some villains that work around him that are certainly very dangerous in their own right, it all begins and ends with the Brain himself.
The Brain was the chess player. So he was all about strategy, he was all about skill, and he would much rather play the game as long as he could than just take him down fast.
The Brain is emotionless. He has gotten rid of his body. He does not want a body. We designed him to be really sleek and sterile, like a chess piece. You know, you get that theme when he and Mala are actually playing chess, and he's a chess piece sitting on a big chessboard, you know, and they're looking at a little chessboard playing chess. It's all kind of a theme that runs through the Brotherhood.
They fight with much enthusiasm. Allow me to crush them.
One of the problems of being a super genius is you really don't have anyone to talk to. So the Brain created a super genius gorilla to be a sidekick, basically, you know, putting a smart brain in a dumb ape.
And the dynamics you had between the Brain and Monsieur Mala.
This wonderful character actor named Glenn Shaddix. So in this season of Teen Titans, we had to have Glenn Shaddix play two characters that spoke to each other, and it was Monsieur Mala and Brain. And they had scenes together where they actually had to go back and forth. And he did it practically flawlessly.
You stop a common thief, but what about a real villain?
Madame Rouge is a shape changer. And when you think about duplicitous, villainous behavior, that is a force to be reckoned with.
The thing that I loved about Madame Rouge was being able to play with her powers in animation, being able to make her stretch, make her transform, or morph.
Madame Rouge was just plain evil, and I wanted to do a female character who was just mean.
In my experience, this would be considered a crushing defeat. Battalion, fire!
So with General Mortis, he's been around since the dawn of time, so we wanted to make him look ancient. He's got this small, withered body with kind of a big turnipy head.
He ages very slowly, so he's been around since the dawn of time and has seen every war, every battle since the beginning of human history. And as a result of that, knows every battle plan, every tactic, and uses that to wipe the board of all adversaries that get in his way.
Are a family, and the easiest way to get to them is to split them apart.
Everything is now in place. My only desire is an admission of defeat.
I think that Brain really thought he had the the heroes figured out. I think he underestimated how driven the heroes were and how loyal they were to each other.
I think in a lot of ways the biggest problem with the Brotherhood of Evil is they were really kind of set in their ways, and very old-fashioned ways at that. And here they are facing a whole new breed of heroes, young kids who have a different way of doing things, and for kind of grown-ups who are used to doing things a certain way, having these kind of upstart kid heroes that come in and mess up their plans is something that's completely unexpected for them.
Lord Drogar, the weapon has reached full power. Then begin the firing sequence.
The Gordanians came from the comic books. They were interstellar bad guys, kind of these lizard guys that were all about world conquest. In doing an origin episode that had Starfire as the centerpiece, it made sense to use a villain from her world, and in that case, the Gordanians were the perfect fit.
The Gordanians had captured Starfire, or bringing them back to their home planet as a trophy since they were at war with the Tamaranians. She escaped and got loose into the city, and then they basically threatened the Titan city to get her back.
Fools! The Earth scum were warned. Your insolence will be punished. Your city shall be destroyed.
They're the kind of guys that come in their big, giant, world-crushing spaceship. You make their demands, and if they're not immediately met, they trigger their doomsday device, and boom, planet gone. They don't mess around, these guys.
It was like an army. We needed something to bring the whole city together and all the Titans together.
One of the things that was the Gordanians' downfall is they never took these kids seriously. I mean, come on, we're the big Gordanians, and here's a bunch of kids that are going to come up here and try to defeat us? Hardly. So they were never taken seriously. So in a lot of ways, the Gordanians' defenses were down.
Hey, sir. I mean, Robin, do you maybe...
Sorry, I just went solo. I'm not really looking to join a team.
Need a sidekick?
It was always in the back of our minds that it would be great to do an origin episode at some point.
Glenn never wanted to do the origin in the beginning. He always felt that it was too soon, and we'd come upon our teenagers already as a team, already getting along. And for some reason, it just seemed to fit in our last season, especially as we were doing the story of handing out communicators. It seemed like a great story to tell how you got the very first one.
I thought we might want to keep in touch, so Cyborg and I designed these.
Made them out of my own circuits. We wanted to jump into their lives as superheroes right away. We didn't want to be saddled with a setup. And that's why I think by holding it until the 5th season, we were able to see their past as it relates to their present. We were able to see where they've come from by seeing where they are now.
Go team.
It's cool to know how the Titans behave, and then when you see them acting out of character, then it means more. If you'd seen that in order, it wouldn't have been as interesting.
The origin episode was a big challenge for us because there was so much story we wanted to tell, but we had to condense it into 22 minutes.
I think it was a lot harder, certainly, than anticipated because it was telling 5 big stories in one small episode. And we wanted to see the first of everything, the first booyah, the first time Beast Boy tells a joke. It was the first for everything, and there was a lot of information to get out. I think it was a fun episode, but it was a trying one, too.
Guess we could all use some new friends.
Besides, we kind of made a good team.